welcome everybody. And this is a great opportunity for a number of reasons. One, it enables the collective leadership of the Old Dalian Union and of Dale College to speak with one voice. And we so are welcoming to hear, or just so looking forward to hear what they're going to say together. And it's an opportunity for the broader Old Dalian community to connect and to ask questions. Use the Q&A button at the bottom. I'll be monitoring the Q&A, and every now and again I'll interject Garth and Nick. I'll sort of say the number of people wanting to know about this or that. So I'll keep quiet until there's need, but I'm not going to interrupt you every time there's a question. And we do undertake to those who on the Zoom that we'll answer all of your questions in due course, either directly or afterwards. But it's really the trending questions that we're interested in. So with no further ado, I'll hand over to Nick, I presume, and Garth. You can have the opening words.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know we are waiting for Piwe. I don't know if Piwe has stuck his hand up here. I just want to have a quick little look for him.
Well, Nick, while you're doing that, let me just say a few words of introduction. So, Alan, I'm sure most people know you, but maybe a few people who've dialed in don't know you. So, Alan is sitting away from us, Nick and I, in my office over here. But, Alan, thank you so much for hosting this meeting. And yeah, Alan's just been phenomenal since he's come on board and has played a huge role in assisting and helping us and kind of providing a mentoring role. Very strategic in his thinking, very key in his fundraising, very clear in the vision, and what we're doing and how we're developing and working towards, and playing a huge role. So, Alan, thank you so much for facilitating a meeting like this as well from afar over there. P was disappeared again there. We debated about if we needed to introduce each other. I don't know that I need to introduce Nick, but does everybody know you, Nick?
I think most people do.
I'll say a few words quickly because it's a good gap to get a few jibes in over here. So 1999 matric, played a decent game of rugby, even if he just hid behind the big they'll play all the time. Yeah, I was guest of honor at our Sport and Cultural Awards evening last night. It was great to see how the kids responded to him, and just enjoyed hearing from him and hearing some of his stories of his time at the Lions and then at the Bulls. Bulls Super Rugby winner, Science Club winner. I'm not sure what his greatest claim of fame is at Dale College, whether it was that he got honours for rugby, or he won the Science Club, or he won Mr. Dale.
Mr. Dale, 99. Mr.
Anyway, that's Nick, our new ODU president, and I've really enjoyed him coming alongside. Lots of energy, lots of positivity, huge passion, huge humility to be able to work with the school and come alongside, the vision that we have and what we want to do. So it's great having you on board, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Amazing being here, and welcome to Piwe too, the vice president, and I know Dave Turnbull, the secretary on the Exco, is on board here too. He is listening and be putting through a lot of questions. Greetings from New Zealand. We've got New Zealanders out here too. So Piwe has been an absolute gem. Coming in, he's been part of the Cape Town leadership group for quite a while. Nobody actually knows this, or I don't know how many people know this, but he was actually a Selbornian. He was from East London and literally put his hand up and said, "I want to go to Dale. I want to be a Dalian." And what a Dalian you are! Thank you very much, Piwe. Lawyering down in Cape Town, and he's got the cutest little twins. And obviously, first team rugby 2004. It's his
20th year reunion
next year. So big homecoming for him and all his boys.
We'll chat a little bit more about reunion, but Nick and I were down in East London just now and connected with Buster Farah, who 1954 matric is going to be celebrating his 70-year reunion next year.
70 years.
So we just lost people. So a lot of excitement chatting to him, and there were 3 members in the 1964 class, and they were getting excited for their 60-year reunion. So lots of excitement. We'll chat a bit more about reunion now.
Yeah. So Garth, no introduction. I mean, everyone knows who you are. You're a reformed Queenian. In the
parents.
Yeah, it's been a real honor being here for the last few days. And I tell you how much I've enjoyed walking through the halls. I had the most amazing time down at Jibé. Yeah, we'll talk about it else now. Let's get straight into it.
We've included Kawunda in the conversation. Do you want to say a few words on?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know, this was done by Chaz Art. Absolutely beautiful. I think a lot of people would have seen this on the social media. It was done in honor of one of our greatest old aliens. You know, I knew Bev since we were 10 years old, and not only was he like or something tried. I passed a lot of it too. The most amazing rain flap, but also the most amazing like person and bubbly and lively. And this was done 2 years ago, no, last year. The last year done for him, and it's quite nice because I don't know if you've seen it. There's the crown at the top, and I think you can speak a little bit more.
So let's not do that now. Let's I think what we'll do is it was great having Luke Hosty. So the Hosty family have played a big role in getting this commissioned for us in honor of Kawunda, and the future of this beautiful piece of work. We need to know. Where is it going? It's not going to be sitting in my office forever, but I'm thoroughly enjoying having it in my office, and I draw a lot of inspiration from it. And people who come in, it's a talking point, it's a catching point. So we thought we'd use that as a backdrop tonight. But a lot of imagery and figurative and beautiful figurative aspects to talk to. And I think what we need to do is we need to get that summarized together and put out a newsletter which actually talks to this.
Yeah,
I think that'd be quite a fun talking point. A few slides. So I had a great trip to. I'll talk to them quickly. Had a great trip to Australia and New Zealand recently. I think I'm assuming most people tuned in tonight would have read the newsletter. I've got a few photos from that. It was just good. It was a good mix of connecting with old aliens, seeing passionate people, connecting with educational institutions. Spent a lot of time, and a lot of people who hosted me really did effort, and people, who are in education in Australia or in New Zealand. And so
Roger Butler.
Yes, I connected with Roger Butler. There's a photo of him over here. Great to connect with him, and just a lot of deep context of Dale in the 90s. When was he here? And understanding the trajectory from Dale College.
He gave me a few hidings.
Really. They told me how naughty you were. I remember that. So there's some of the photos that I was talking to. First one on the left here was the group in Perth, and Roger actually organized that get together. A lot of fun.
I don't recognize him about his song.
Yeah, there's another nice photo of he and I had a good coffee and a walk and a catch up. Went to Melbourne next, and really enjoyed connecting over there. John Wolf hosted me over there. It was good to catch up with Ken Morant, Guy's dad. A good evening connection over there. Went across to Sydney next. This is the group in Sydney. Gavin Troxler organized most of it. We did a late change in venue. Peter King hosted me. It was lovely to connect with Peter and Pat King. And then this is actually Queensland, which was my last stop on the way back. And really nice to connect with a diverse group of old aliens over there. Stayed with my uncle, who's on that side. And then, some banter over here. A new pot in hostel. Cleaning the shoes of his old boy, and gifted him with a bag and a brush and a tin of shoe polish. So it's quite fun banter that we had over there. This is our get together in down bottom left in Auckland, and that's our biggest get together. So a lot of old aliens between. Yes, that's right. Between Hamilton and Auckland, and that was quite fun. So that was post my conference on the way down. And then traveled down. Yes, that's right. Traveled down to Christchurch, and this bottom right was our last get together in Christchurch, and some fun and games there. And of course, meeting up with Greg Somerville. I put a post up on Facebook talking about my experiences and connecting with him. It's just lovely to connect with him, and he just enjoyed reminiscing on his time at Dale College. So I think many people will have seen that photo. The old aliens across Australia and New Zealand were abysmal in doing the war cry. They forgotten it. They needed some training. So this is the group in Sydney, and this is quite fun. We were in this old pub in central Sydney and stepped outside and recorded this. One of the guy's sons was there, and he recorded for us. It's quite fun. Let's see if we can get it to play.
Yeah. 2, 3. Aha! Come in, Yale College! Oh, cheese! Cleanse! Cover, Sonny! Oh, Yale College! I'm my daughter! Eyre!
Just quickly, really don't want to do a long presentation and rather want to spend time answering questions. So please do put your questions down if you have. But just some updates from the ground over here. So things going well in our hostels. Late last year, we introduced weekly boarding, and that's really made a difference to bring down the cost of termly boarding, allowed a few more people who live in the area, parents work or they commuting to school. And, you know, somebody who's living in East London commuting up here is pretty much in transport paying what he could be paying in weekly boarding hostel. And it's really made a positive difference. You know, suddenly those corridors, you know, big old Frank Jabé was down to below 50 kids last year. And suddenly the corridors are not echoing as much anymore. You know, we've put a lot of energy into improving the hostel. This picture at the bottom over here is a guy brushing his teeth. I think it's a fun photo, but we've renovated our bathrooms. They're all looking beautiful. We've deliberately done that, looking to get marking contracts in. Haven't managed to land one of those yet, but we need to collaborate with schools around us, and not all of them are as willing to give up their December holidays to do that. So, but we're patiently waiting for our opportunity.
And Garth, I went there. It was brilliant. Like, I'm an old Jabé boy. You know, the food was a lot better.
Maybe you would have been a bit bigger if the food was that good.
Yeah, no, the food is great. No, the food is great. Fish salads, and we had barbecue wings. I was like, chips, and so I was like, geez, this is. And obviously, because the times have changed.
Yes,
we talk about it a bit later, I think.
So our kids go down to hostel now and have lunch at second break, and so that's
much fresher.
Yeah,
things are much fresher. Like.
You went to, do I remember correctly? You went in College House, were you?
I was in College House, but in matric, yeah, it was good times because it was just matrics, grade 8s, grade 9s.
Interesting. So we're looking to open up College House next year, and I think we've been saying this for a few years, but our numbers are really looking good to it. We're above 70 now. We're losing a small group of matrics. I think there's 6 matrics who are leaving, and we've currently got 10 grade 8s accepted who coming into hostel. So already that pushes our numbers up, and we've pretty much been at capacity for Frank Jabé. So we've put all the things in place. In fact, in today's standing meeting, we're looking at staff who apply to be duty master at College House and at Frank Jabé. And so lots of excitement
it's much nicer at Jabé now. Everyone's got their own cubicle and stuff. we all used to have to like smell each other's farts and stuff.
Poor guy sleeping next to you, Nick.
Yeah, Carlos, great Carlos, you're on there. I remember those thoughts.
Listen, let's talk a little bit about lunch. So Nick's mentioned that that our hostel kids go down to hostel now to have their lunch, and we've changed the structure. And this was a highly debated topic in the staff room. Is this going to work? Are the kids going to get up to mischief? What's it going to do? I think it's really gone well. We literally started this at the start of this term, where we have a 45-minute breaks. The kids would love it if they had 2 45-minute breaks. The second break is 45 minutes. And that allows enough time for the hostel kids to go down, have their lunch, come back. I think they're not allowed into their dorms and that sort of stuff. We do push them on time. And we've jazzed up our tuck shop. So we don't talk about the tuck shop anymore. We talk about the Hungry Heron. And we ran a competition last year to name it and design a logo. And there's our team, 3 ladies who work very, very hard. And there's the menu. Nick, we had, what is it today? Steamed bread with chicken. It wasn't with chicken. It was with
lamb.
It was a lamb.
Yeah.
How was it?
It's delicious. Everything I've eaten so well. I don't remember the food being so good in King. Like, honestly,
steamed bread was just amazing, hey?
Yeah, it's delicious.
I love it. So anyway, it's fun.
It was like $25.
So, well, let me talk to that. So we've deliberately, and I've been ruthless on the people running the tuck shop to say, has to be affordable. We can make our profit on the junk food, but the kids have to be able to come and be able to eat a healthy meal, a wholesome meal. We've realized, and let me share this with you, we've realized that many of our kids are coming from homes where they're not getting a healthy meal. They're coming without breakfast, they don't have lunch, they had lessons all the way till 2, they went straight down to sport practice, and literally they'd eat their first meal in the evenings. We just realized that this is not a way to build a rugby team or to have kids concentrating into the evening, studying for their tests. You could see the concentration dip off towards the end of the day. And so we said, well, if we introduce food in the day as part of the school program, curriculum, or whatever else, where do we do that? Do you do it at breakfast? Do you do it at first break? We've decided to go with this option. But the absolute emphasis has been to make sure that food is affordable. And I'm not checking if my maths is right there, but the instruction was that for 105 Rand, kid can eat a main meal every single day. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. Awesome. I'm going to jump on this opportunity to say, Old Aliens, we need you to come on board with the Support Dale Hundreds Club. One of the things that we've spoken about with the Hundreds Club is that, and I literally had a teacher, grade 9 house-based teacher, in tears here, and I saw she wasn't, said, Roxanne, what's up? You're right. And she said, Garth, I've just heard the most devastating news. And it was just before we were on our way down to East London. And she just shared with me of how she's heard of one of the kids that she's going through, and parents both unemployed, and things are really tough there. And I said, tell you what, Rox, you put an email down to Alan and I, and you appeal that we can buy this kid meal vouchers out of Hundreds Club money, that he can eat a healthy meal. So, Old Aliens, please, we'll talk more about that now, but that really is our idea. For an affordable rate, kids can get a healthy meal and be able to concentrate through the rest of the day in the afternoon. I wanted to say on the right here, so you can see this this kitchen setup with the gas over there is a very temporary setup, and this is in flux. We've got a good setup of the kitchen over there, but the profits from this Hungry Heron, we're wanting to turn straight back into improving that cafeteria. And we really would like to turn it into a whole cafeteria vibe where kids can obviously eat something healthy, but they can also sit in the afternoon and be able to get out their books and work productively, and just a nice space. If you've been a student for one of our university campuses, you know what a student centrum looks like, and that's the kind of vibe that we want here.
Cappuccinos all day. Yeah, studying hard.
Staff there as well. Anyway, let's move on. Campus aesthetics. So we want our campus to be utilized positively, by kids who are spending their afternoons here and so on. Nick always goes on about that paving. I mean, that's not a new project. That's been a while, but it just looks so good.
Amazing.
So,
when I had this photo, because it always used to look dark and all the tar. Yeah, now it looks and it'll also last how long?
No, much longer. Yeah. We had Stuart Lusgarten come and assist us and guide us, and he just said, Garth, you've got to spend a bit more money and do this paving, and the tar's going to break up every single time in this kind of a paving area. Excited that I spoke about it in the newsletter.
And the flowers, I'll look around there, there's flowers everywhere.
So we've got a new head of buildings and grounds. Hope Manjera is one of our teachers, and he's been passionate about the gardens, and he just says, Garth, this aesthetics needs to look good. And when kids come in, they've got to see flowers. Old boys' parents, they've got to be inspired by it. So we're working hard at those kind of things. These other two photos, I literally went and took them today as current on the go. That's what we call the old drum room. Used to be the old junior book room. I'm not sure what it was before that, but we've realized currently our books and the book room is in a beautiful big facility, the old music block. And it's an underutilized space, and we've said we don't need to keep a big facility for where books will be stored over a December, January holiday. We've had a complete change anyway, so we're fixing up this room and going to be putting shelves in over there to be making that our book room. We've got new models anyway. We don't store the textbooks through the December, January. They come in November, they get sorted out. December, those books are going home with kids already for the next year, that we can hit the ground running when the year starts. So lots of improvements, and I deliberately include that as well. That wing, it's the old music room, like I said, our plans are to develop that into a learning commons. Again, a space where kids can go and receive tutoring in the afternoon, access internet, or be able to access a computer to do a type of project, whatever the story is, just use their or spend their afternoons productively, or teachers can use it for alternative learning lessons. So lots of these kind of projects on the go at the college at the moment. Shall I go on?
So I've got two things that have come up in the questions. So I'm answering the quick, easy ones that I can, but a couple of interesting ones. Garth, asking about how we are likely to get our 100% pass rate this year. What are the metrics looking like in terms of academics? And then just in terms of thinking, if people were interested in supporting feeding initiatives, how would they go about it? I've put my email address in the answer there, but Garth, maybe you could just expand a bit on the sort of need that we face.
So thanks, Alan. So that feeding, thank you. That's a great question and great way to be able to support a kid and impact a kid's life. There's no doubt that many of our kids are really coming from poor homes. And there's a lot of research that's been done in South Africa, which talks to how child's home circumstances is different to their ability to pay school fees, you know. And many of our kids, fees are paid by an uncle or a father who's working far away, but child is living with grandparents, and those grandparents are often living in like really poor conditions. Or you know, you see it in a child's blazer and his pockets torn, and like it's fixed. Yeah. So we have many of our children who are, even though they in a fairly affluent school, they're really coming from challenging circumstances. So Aldanians, you know, if you say, hey, I'd like to assist with this, can I come on board? Can I assist? By all means, be able to do that, you know, and to be able to sponsor a child's meal ticket. You know, we can have our house-based teachers identify needy kids or worthy recipients of that kind of a support relationship, and we can connect people anonymously or with a relationship. You know, we've been speaking a lot about mentorship and how we can create mentorship structures. So lots of opportunity for that. So I think Alan, I think you giving your email address is useful. People can be in touch with you. Yeah, and I think, like I said, you know, Hundreds Club is a vehicle for that as well.
Yeah, 100% pass rate.
Okay, so that's a challenging one. So I mean, 99% last year, we were thrilled with that, and I think
we had 100% in 99.
So we got to manage expectations, and I don't sound like a very confident headmaster saying that, do I? But we've been very aware that 100% is challenging. You know, the department doesn't hand out 100% pass rates anymore. They don't lift marks for former Model C school learners. Schools are not allowed to deregister kids like they did back in 1999. They did, man. They were so naughty. They deregister dangerous kids and enroll them as private candidates, and it was bad. And rightfully so. The department, you know, puts schools under pressure to provide accountable support to those learners, and that's what we need to do. I was chatting yesterday to somebody and saying, you know, now is really a crucial time. You know, the kids are writing the September trial exams. I'm desperate to see what those results are coming in, and then we've got to put our intervention plans in place. And I do believe that if a kid fails this exam now, there is time to respond to that. You know, we in our June exam, we didn't have a great pass rate. A significant number of our learners failed. But if you look at why they failed, it's easily surmountable. Is that right? But I'm confident that the kids will overcome that. But there's
Oliver Rodson failed in September, and he went to university.
Let's throw him under the bicycle.
Oliver Robertson, 1999, he failed September, went to university, he studied hard for those 3 months.
So things certainly can turn around. So, you know, those kind of hard conversations are going on. But yeah, I will be very disappointed with anything less than 99%. You know, that certainly is our goal. Anything less than 100%, we don't plan on any of our kids failing.
You just tell them, don't be that guy to let down the team.
But it's challenging, Nick. And always, let me share this with you. You know, so the one learner who passed last year, passed in June, passed in September, he hit us out of the blue with his failure. You know, one of his subjects he had battled with throughout the year, and then his business studies. Business studies was an anomaly around the country.
It was difficult.
Well, kids it wasn't so difficult as much as kids just got like marks which were way below what they expected to get. There's been a lot of questions being asked around the subject and how it's been marked and that sort of thing. It's interesting. I mean, my wife teaches business studies at KHS, so it's really challenging. He had passed business studies well in June and in September, and then end of the year I don't know if he bombed out. I don't know what happened those days before his final exams.
Everybody sent for a remark. You sent for remarks.
Yeah, still didn't. Anyway, so I hope that answers the question. We are certainly working hard to get everybody through, but it's a challenging field to be working in. Good. Let me carry on. So talking about our buildings and grounds and improvements that we're doing, this high performance center is an important aspect of what we're planning. I've put the ground plan out for you. It's just down below us over here on the old Congo field, drill field.
Between College House.
What do you call the field in your day?
We used to do drills there. Yeah, so the drill. Yeah,
we call it Congo now. I don't know where that name comes from.
Congo. Okay, the Congo. The building in the Congo.
That's exactly what we're talking about. But there's an old workshop over there, so it's existing building. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse. Should have it as a laser pointer. But the existing building is over there on the right-hand side, and basically extending it out to the left, which basically goes towards the valley below the school. And Yeah, it's an exciting project. It's not an over-the-top project. I mean, Nick, we've spoken about this in what we've put out to Old Boys. It's a thumbsuck budget at 2 million. We've got close to 1 million of that raised. We need another 1 million, and we are desperate for Old Boys to come on board.
There's been some good Old Boys without even trying, like without even really putting it out and getting it out there, and you've raised 1 million.
Yeah, so we've put some of our budget towards that, our capex budget towards that, and had an Old Boy come on board, contribute 200,000 this year, which we put towards that. Another donor from outside who's not an Old Boy, contributing and supporting the work that we do. 100,000 there that we put in. The class of 1978, and really appreciate their efforts. And I spoke about this in the newsletter. Yeah. They said, you know what, instead of doing a big gift on our 50-year reunion, let's rally around and do a big gift now on our 45th year reunion. And I like that vision, because hopefully we can have this thing built and they can have 3 years of training, or 4 years of training coming through that facility.
They want to win at reunion.
Exactly. You're a bit slow, Nick.
Oh, no.
So anyway, so thank you to the 1978 group, and challenge laid down to other year groups to
yeah. And I mean, I chatted to Royd and First Coach. I had a little chat to Graffy and those kind of guys, and Georgie as well, the new strength and conditioning coach. And I mean, he went up and sat with a whole lot of different schools and things around this. And of course, coming from the Western Cape, I think what they spend 15 million rand on some of these facilities that the guys get. And at the moment, where the guys are situated now at the old woodwork metalwork room, it's not conducive to getting out and doing those cross-functional skills. There's no flat ground. They've got to come out. You were explaining a little bit to myself as well. It's not set up very well, and you need more classrooms.
And let me explain that as well. So a lot of old aliens have asked, why do we need this gym? Don't we have the old gym? So the old gym hall, old gymnasium, which was built, I'm not sure which year that was built, above the school, kind of towards Queen's Road. So we still use that, very much functional. Kids are writing exams in just a moment.
I'll share. I walked in there today and saw the matrix.
Use it as an indoor basketball facility, indoor sports facility. A lot of big meetings are held in that hall, so we use it a lot. Where the current gym, the weights training center, if we use that terminology, is the old metalwork room, and that's not ideally situated. Sloping ground all around it. And then the other factor that we realized, and I think I've explained this, forgive me, old aliens, if you're hearing this for the second time, is our numbers have grown. So in the last 5 years, we've gone from 540 kids up to 640 kids. So we've got more classes happening, and we've got a number of teachers, 4 teachers who don't have their own venues. And those teachers are wanderers. And so we would like to turn that old metalwork unit back into 2 classrooms. Currently, our geography wing goes down there, so we'll see which classrooms those become. But to turn those into the academic space that we need and build a custom-built gym where there's a flat field space, where we can do bleep testing outside, flipping tires, whatever else your rugby got set up to. Good. I put some words there. Maybe old aliens have read through that. Malcolm Andrew sent me a pack of memorabilia, and it was just so good to see. And
so Alan, you want to say something?
No, finish what you're saying, but when you finish the slide, I've got a question for you, Nick.
Okay, no problem.
So Malcolm Andrew sent me a whole bunch of memorabilia, and it was so interesting going through this. And I'm assuming this was at the time of looking for extensions down at the Malcolm Andrew Sports Centre, at the rugby fields, which is not a gym, but a function venue and entertainment space. And it's just interesting what he shared over here: history of old alien unions, contributions, plus assistance from parents and friends of the schools. And it was good for me to go through, and I've put some of that up there, So the War Memorial, obviously dating back to the end of the First World War, when that was commissioned and put together, and is obviously a central marker of Dale College to this day, and I very much love memorial around the school. C&D fields and the memorial gates, if I understand correctly, it was from the excess of that fundraising drive. Interesting for me to read of, through the Depression, the Great Depression of the 1930s, and how old aliens dug deep and said, there are kids who need to be educated and families that can't afford to contribute, but we will pay for them to benefit from what Dale College has to offer. the Old Dalian Memorial Hall, and I read this to you because it's so good for me to see this. In 1956, when the present college, and I remember this college was built and opened 1961.
Yeah.
So in 1956, when the present college was still in embryo, the administrator of the Cape Province issued an ultimatum. He gave the school committee a deadline of 2 weeks within which to deposit £20,000 cash to underwrite the building of the school hall. In particular, the department in those days would only contribute £10,000 for a school hall. By depositing the required money, the present magnificent college hall was guaranteed. Who contributed the £20,000? The headmaster approached some significant Old Dalians. Elliot Roach immediately wrote a check for £4,000 and offered more. Others also came up with significant contributions. That's just a beautiful legacy of contribution and the facilities that we enjoy today.
Yeah, the ones that we sit in every day. I always knew it was the Old Dalian Memorial Hall, but I didn't know why. Yeah, and it's because the Old Dalians built it.
And good for me to go through the rest of this document, and it's on screen there, of the facilities that our Dalians have today. And I think the appeal now is again that same thing, is the Dalians of tomorrow would benefit from this. We as a school have fallen behind other schools. We need to be more scientific in our approach. We've embraced that. We've come alongside. We've employed a strength and conditioning coach. We can see the value in that already. But yeah, we would love to develop further in this. Alan, do you want to ask that question?
I've got two actually. One interesting one for you, Garth, and one for you, Nick. Nick, the one for you is around how many Old Dalians are on our database with known details, and how do we go about capturing and getting that database up to date? And then for Garth, a question about your trip to New Zealand. How many, what sort of expressions of support have turned into dollars? And I think just an opportunity there for you to talk about our coffee campaign.
Okay, database, how many? How long is a piece of string here? So when we did come into the office, we did a bit of an audit and we started looking at exactly where we are. So we have 4,000 email addresses. We don't really know. Maybe let me even start before that. Okay, so when it comes to people that we know and are full paid up members of the union, we saw that the other day. We've got about 140 guys that are full paid up members. We know who they are, their email addresses, their phone numbers. We've got about 4,000 email addresses. But Auntie Leonie, and I'm sure you've seen, sends in batches of 50. So she goes on and she sends batches of 50 every time. So we don't know who opens up them. We don't know the response of, if it's been like we don't have any software that is able to facilitate. There's no MailChimp. It's literally out of your Microsoft Office. So it's a massive problem for us. It's an outdated system of
in East London tonight, we had an Old Dalian there who's been coming every Thursday to drink, and he was like, "Which email? I didn't get an email. I'm obviously not in the database." So there's a big catch up to do.
There's a massive catch up. Auntie Leonie also has the database on her laptop and the external hard drive. So nothing's in the cloud. So if those two things get stolen, we bug it. So we're moving over now to a cloud system so that everything says, I know a lot of you young guys are going, what? I can't believe this, but it's just legacy, and we've had over the past few years, and let me actually start again. We are going to be moving forward, and one of the things that we want to do is bring in something that works. So Queen started it last year. Paul Russ have had it for about 8 years. Paul Boys and all the big schools around Cares use it. It's called Alumnet. It's specifically around database building, really clean databases. So making sure that whoever gets the email opens the email. We know that it's a usable person that is out there, a real person. They work around advertising as well onto the website, so it's also benefits generating income. They come with an online store, so it's a huge
platform.
It's a better platform. It's an easier way. You know, we didn't have any credit card facilities, so people overseas paid more money in fees than they did in the actual money that got to us. So there are all these legacy things that we are trying to now like bring forward. So yeah, the database is there. It's not very clean, but we are going to work through it. Okay, carry on.
Let me talk to so that question about the trip to Australia and New Zealand. So lots of connections. Contributions are coming in. In fact, just today, Bursa called me over to say, look, Garth, there's another donation which is coming from Australia. Some money which landed from there, from Victoria. So it's still coming in. At this point in time, I don't know if it's fair to put figures on it, but yeah, I pitched really strongly when we were over there. We spoke to the fact of how I'll share this actually. My cousin is a teacher in Perth. And so we worked out, I mean, some things you can translate to rands from dollars and some things you can't. Beer is ridiculously expensive if you convert it to rands. Food in a supermarket is actually affordable if you convert it to rands. Food in a restaurant is really expensive. Sports tickets are very cheap if you convert it to rands. Salaries. He, as an entry-level teacher, earns more than me as a headmaster over here.
What?
So we really pitched this to the old aliens across Australia and New Zealand and said, for a small contribution of your salary, you can help us to employ quality people, high capacity people who can help us. And so we've really pushed the salary fund, and a few people have come on board, and we're very grateful for that. We do still need more contributions to that, so I'm putting that out there.
You never told me. You told me all your stories, but I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. So anyway, so certainly some positive contributions, and we're very grateful to that. I will say this though. Biggest contribution that has come in so far is a commitment from not an old alien, but a university friend of mine who I went and connected with, and we went for a walk and enjoyed a coffee together. And she's come on board, and just this last week, she said she initially started talking about supporting a kid, half of his school fees. And as soon as I connected her with a kid and told her the kid's story, she said, Garth, how much does this kid still owe? And she's pretty much come through for that full amount, which is 70% of his hostel fees plus his school fees to the tune of 60,000 rand. So that's a significant contribution. I'm really grateful to that. I am still, let me say this as well, I am still, what I'm very hopeful for is that those people in Australia and New Zealand who partnered with us, will partner in an ongoing way. And the power of those dollars to rands is really, really significant. So really grateful for that.
And pounds.
And pounds. Pounds, we'd love to develop.
I'll spend rands in pounds.
But let me, Alan mentioned it now. So one of the old aliens, Warren Roth. What year was Warren Roth? I think 96, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that. Warren, I'm not sure if you're in here, you can let us know. So he's launched a program, and he's just been very passionate. He's been great and so full of energy on this. And so he and Alan are working on that to develop and basically take our hundreds club, our supportdale.co.za hundreds club. And Warren's big motivation has been to say, Garth, we need to get 1,000 people, not necessarily old aliens, but 1,000 people across Australia, across New Zealand, pitching New Zealand only, 1,000 people across New Zealand paying the cost of a cup of coffee to Dale College per week. Those people will do nothing. They'll stop and buy a cup of coffee on the side of the road and cost $5 or $6, whatever else. No difference. Tap the card, go on. And his pitch is to say the cost of a cup of coffee per week towards supporting a kid get a quality education at Dale College. And I mean, we did the maths the other day. If you've got 1,000 people, $5 a week, 52 weeks a year, times an exchange rate of 12 rand to the dollar, that's more than 3 million. That's, what did we work out, Alan? 50, 60. Well, it depends on if kids in hostel or if they're day scholars, but if you've got half of those kids in hostel and half of those kids day scholars, you're talking about 50 kids' lives that we're impacting positively
with that. Just
exactly, yeah. And assuring us of that fee income would be valuable. The plan is, and if you're in Australia, we've been talking about you, but you haven't heard this yet. The plan is to spread that out into Australia as well, and say, I don't know if you got a cup of coffee in Australia or a beer in Australia, but the cost of a beer per week and
Masters then.
and to expand that and to encourage the different different Old Alien Union groups around the world to spread this and get this going, and so we've got a good platform coming on that. Alan, do you want to add anything else on that? You've been sitting at the close end of that, eh?
No, I think you've summed it up, but I think it's around the power of numbers and the power of currency and what it can actually do for a little school in the Eastern Cape and how it can transform kids' lives. So I think you've touched it completely.
I'll say a few more words on, maybe I'll skip the slide first and talk to the Andy Andrews Financial Assistance Fund first. Met with Andy this evening. He was down in East London, and
64.
No, he was 1961 matric. 61. Yeah, but so he's agreed to lend his name, and the man's humble. He Garth, if you absolutely have to put my name there, and our vision is just, well, it's a couple of things. It's honoring him. I mean, I proudly talk of him as one of our greatest exports here at Dale College. You know, somebody who's gone on to have a significant career and really impact business in South Africa and around the world. You know. Anyway, so he's agreed to put his name, the Andy Andrews Financial Assistance Fund, got a nice ring as well. And he says, Garth, I was the worst fundraiser when I worked at the Wits Business School. I was the worst fundraiser ever, but he's happy to get involved here. And what we're going to be doing is a series of business breakfasts. So Port Alfred next week Thursday, and then down to PE for next week Friday, coming up in Johannesburg on Wednesday the 1st of November, and in Cape Town on Wednesday the 15th of November. 15th or 14th, just after there, it's over there, 15th of November, just after the H.O. de Villiers Golf Day. And when I talk about this Andy Andrews Financial Assistance Fund, and forgive me, old Daniels, if you've heard this from me before, but we see when people apply to us, and the honest truth is that, you know, we get our main feeder schools, Dale Junior and Central Primary, but then we got another 60 places where kids are coming from township schools or rural schools or schools in East London or the other feeder schools here in King Williamstown. And many of them that are applying to us are not strong academically. We look at their marks, compare them to the grade average, they're below grade average. And it breaks my heart because it tells me that we're not attracting the most talented kids in our community. We're attracting the kids who can afford to pay the fees. There's so many talented kids in this community who would be good Dalians, they benefit from being at Dale College, but they can't access it because they can't afford 31,000 Rand a year school fees. And I talk about Andy as a poster boy for that. You know, he left Dale College and he spent 6 years working on his own, sales repping, saving up to put himself through university. And then even when he was at university, he went to do his master's and then his MBA. He worked double shift to be able to pay for his own studies. And how many other Andy Andrewses are there in our community who would be able to make an impact in South Africa, but need that step up in life to be able to access quality education? And so that's our real vision with the Andy Andrews Financial Assistance Fund. Look out if you want to get involved. If you are not aware yet of these get-togethers, these business breakfasts, please be in touch with Leonie. And if you're in another center and you want us to come and join you to do a business breakfast, we'd love to do that.
Still trying to get my wife to come. Yeah.
To come on next week again.
Yeah, next week.
Let me go back to the Hundreds Club over here. So we've spoken about it. A lot of old aliens tell us, like, it's so difficult to sign up for the Hundreds Club. It's not difficult to sign up for the Hundreds Club, old aliens. I've deliberately put that website up there. Type in www.supportdale.co.za. And it takes you to a page. If you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to get this. There's a tab that you can click on to say support now. And it's literally as easy as this. It's going to take you 3 minutes. You log in your details over there, and you sign up. Yeah, it's very easy, very straightforward, and we should be doing lots of this. Piwe, you and I were chatting about this when you came up for a braai. Why are we battling to get old aliens to sign up for the Support Dale with CO.za Hundreds Club?
So, God, yeah, maybe just 2 points. I think firstly, I think part of, so if you tied with the question of how many people have in our database, is that, I mean, for now, we are essentially a database, you know, kind of union organization, in the sense that, I mean, it's on paper. We need to really work hard in building a sense of community, and getting that togetherness back, right? So something that we had mentioned in Cape Town is, as you know, it would be on occasion just actually meet for the sake of meeting, as opposed to meeting because we need to raise funds or we need to, you know, do something. Because what happens is that all these things with time, if you get a strong enough and an aligned enough community, you find that the money becomes a byproduct. And I think that something that we mentioned in the Hundreds Club is that also it's a positioning thing. I mean, I think that you know, I'm sure it's true now as it was back then. I mean, if you take what it took getting a Dalian for many families through school, it wasn't just the nuclear family, you know, mother, father contributing. I mean, often uncles, aunts, you know, would contribute, be it with uniform or be it with a bit of money. And those are people who've got an allegiance to Dale at, you know, different levels. So, for example, if you're going to be targeting me for the Hundreds Club, only from my family, I mean, I don't find it wise, because from my family you could get 4 or 5, right? So I think it's a positioning thing that will come with building the community. So it's almost I think that we especially the times, we need to expand to, as we're doing in Australia, to a national kind of level. I mean, you don't, in my mind at least, you don't have to be a Dalian to be an old Dalian. Once we can break through that, you just got to be someone who is interested in the school and to be part of the network. And I think it's also, you know, just a trust thing, is that I think that we haven't, you know, we've got to take it on the chin that, I mean, as a union, there just hasn't been enough reporting back, accounting for funds, clarity, transparency that, you know, endears gents or wider community to feel that like they're not throwing their money into a black pot. So I think a lot of work can be done on this. I think a very important first step was unifying it. So I mean, that cuts off the confusion. We've got one. I think we should start calling it a 200s club. And I think that will do a lot. And then also, you know, if we stop competing for the same pots of money with the ODU versus the college versus the junior, so bringing all that into one. And I think that your idea on that was great, you know, and how the 200 rand is split between, you know, the junior school, the ODU, and the college. So I think that everything is in place, but what's going to really get it going is if we make it a community thing, right? So, you know, Mrs. Eyre, is she a member, right? And, you know, the other Mrs. and girlfriends and
That's a good point.
family.
My wife isn't. You're right.
Yes.
Make her sign up now.
There
Very
you
good
go,
point.
right? As so should I, and
Yeah.
everyone else. I mean, God, you included, I think. So it will start like that if we just within ourselves expand it to our families. And then from the Eyre household, instead of getting 200 rand a month, we're getting 400 rand, right? And so on and so forth.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. Thanks, Pio. I think you've spoken to how we're splitting it up and the unity of it, and the realization that, hey, we don't need to compete. You know, we all wanted to achieve the same thing. And there certainly has been that confusion around, oh, do you Hundreds Club or this Hundreds Club? What's the difference? You know, we I think this is a good middle ground. This platform is very easy and very functional to use, very user friendly. It's easiest to sign up with.
You can use your card.
Yeah.
Unlike ours.
Yeah. It's please, Dalians, all Dalians, please don't think it's difficult. Just type in that www.supportdale.co.za. Follow the links, scroll down to the bottom, follow the links, and just follow it. It's easy.
Okay.
Good. Do you want to chat about that competition that you proposed and 2,000 rand for 40-year groups?
No, it's going to be something that I suggest in the
Like we're gonna have a big launch for it. Anyway, 2,000 rand, 40 years, 80 grand. Anyway, it's coming. It's coming.
Look out for more correspondence there. Good. Something interesting. I thought I'd share this. Something that we're planning. So Heritage Day, Friday the 22nd of September, we're going to be celebrating Heritage Day. And as you can see there up at the top, we're going to be celebrating the Sutton contribution to Dale College Heritage, which is something beautiful, you know. 2 headmasters, Frank Sutton, I'm getting the order right here. Frank Sutton, 1890 to 1912, and then going off to war, and his son Joe Sutton taking over from 1912 up to 1937. 47 years worth of leadership between father and a son from the Sutton family, and Alan and Stuart, 2 very loyal and passionate supporters of the school, are coming down to join us, and we're very grateful to them and very excited to be able to share this day with them and celebrate it. So yeah, we'll certainly look out on social media, and you can see some.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's called Sutton House because Sutton is
Exactly.
yeah, they go deep. Joe Sutton, the guys do the Transdales. Yeah, he was the editor.
Alan's father.
Yeah, he was the editor of Sunday Times and things. And yeah, I think we all know the Suttons, and yeah, it's be proud of our heritage.
Exactly. So something exciting and something different. And then also coming up, reunion. And I just grabbed those two programs, which are in my filing cabinet in front of me. Really exciting program. We've got some dynamic stuff. We've spoken a lot about how can we make sure that reunion is not only successful, but not only a good time of reuniting, but how is it an opportunity for old aliens to come and get a snapshot of Dale College on the ground. And so we've got a very exciting program coming together, and please look out in the next few weeks. I don't think we're going to all those details now, but in the next few weeks, please have a look out for more communication from us.
17th, 18th of May, that weekend, boys, it's a homecoming. This is the biggest one since 2011. It's gonna be massive. Book your flights now.
Yeah.
The prices are going up to Iceland.
We're very excited, and let me say this: we wanted to make sure that Friday evening we look to host an event in the hall, special event. I'm going to give a sneak out over here. Nick and I decided amongst ourselves that guest of honor Buster Ferris 70-year reunion, and to be able to reflect on
Our greatest Springbok.
his legacy and his career and his contribution, and just still the loyal supporter that he is of Dale College. So I hope that decision is accepted. I'm sure it will be. Nick and I felt that.
Yeah, and always remember, you're coming back to something special. If you full paid up member, and a lot of guys have spoken about this, and I mentioned it to the guys. This is probably the last thing we can talk about. Sorry, is that when myself and Piwe and DT Dave Turbo came in, like we really try to just go to the guys and say, hey, listen, pay your subs, you've got this and that, and me being a very passionate Aldalian, you don't have to ask me why. I do that because I'm very passionate. But a lot of especially younger guys were like, but why? Why do I pay my subs and stuff? And I started asking myself the questions why, and myself and Dave and Piwe, we started asking like why? What's the difference between a member of the Old Alien Union that is a paid up member, and that of a past pupil, just an old alien, a normal old alien? And we couldn't tell you the difference.
So there's a lot of plans.
So exactly. So if you're a poly band, there's lots of plans which are coming now. Exactly why? Special times at reunions, sitting at the table with the headmaster, making these decisions and things. So so
look out for that info.
Yeah, it's coming. It's very exciting, and we are so pumped. Until next year reunion.
Alan, any questions? How much time do we have left?
We've got almost no time, but there are two really important ones there. The one is, what are the dates of reunion? And the other one is, and Garth, I'm hoping you can speak to this, encouraging people to stay in King Williamstown and to bring the reunion into King, and all those things we spoke about in our reunion meeting today. I think it works here.
So a real realization that for many old aliens, gathering and reuniting is important, but we wanted to say there's more to that. There's a snapshot of Dale College, there's a snapshot of King Williamstown, and it is unfortunate that King Williamstown is viewed negatively in many ways, but there's great reason to come back and be a part of something special here. And so we were brainstorming today, Alan, myself, Leonie, and Nick, to be able to come up with ideas to say, why would we want old aliens to come here to town? Why is it good for them to come here? What can we offer them that would be real and come and spend time in King Williamstown, book into a guest house. We do believe there's enough place available. We're going to bust a gut and do what we can. Even if we have learners in College House, we're going to vacate College House, make sure that, if guys are coming up without their families, be able to stay in over there. If you are coming up with your family, we do certainly want to encourage that. We are going to get out a list of accommodation options available, make it easy for you to book. And, to the level of, I'm going to be keen to encourage staff to say, colleagues, would you like to rent your place out as a bed and breakfast for the night, or whatever the story is? Well, not a bed and breakfast, just a bed. Let an old alien stay there. You go stay with somebody else. Let's create accommodation options for people to be able to stay here. Nick's asking if you messed something up. I'm not sure. Can you still hear us?
Back. Okay, we're back.
But we're fine. I think we finished.
No, we got that.
I think, Nick, anything else to add?
I think that it's gonna start. So that's only in May, but I think the big focus now, and it's a good thing that, I mean, it's a good friend at my Tinumzi Square has put his hand up to get the King branch going. So I think that's where May starts. It starts with our branches being strong, we being connected, and then we all kind of go in the same direction, because that's coming, from the branches as opposed to the national or the school, right? So I think that anyone who's on this call, I encourage you, wherever you are, get involved with the branch. And heck, if there is no branch, it's a great chance to actually just start one. A branch needs 2 people.
Got to commend you and Tando and the guys down at Cape Town for like really amazing work. I had nothing to do with it. I went down to Cape Town. Steve Polkman and the guys, we had the big Dell Queens get together, and one of the most amazing things is that my kids got to play, with P-West kids. Like our children were jumping around on jumping castles, and we always like to look back at Dale, and we always talk about the time, but we forget there's so much more stories happening. And if we don't get together, if we don't put things together, we don't spend time together. We spend time 60 guys yesterday,
We need to celebrate the shared heritage.
Let's celebrate. Yeah.
Any other questions, Alan?
Just remind us one more time the dates of reunion, please.
You said 17th, 18th of May.
Yeah. I think 18th is a Saturday, 17th is the Friday. But it's.
But we should book the whole weekend, eh? We should book the whole long weekend.
Yeah, Thursday. Normally, what I do is I arrive on the Thursday, and then I leave Monday morning.
Sounds great.
And just the package. So imagine arriving on the Friday. We've got activities on the Friday up at Bustafara.
Yeah.
We've got
Alan, it starts one earlier. Dale Junior, please don't throw away that Dale
Junior
event. They hosted in their hall this year. You and I missed that. We'd gone down to East London.
You guys are useless. We go on the Wednesday night. We all get together at like Crawford's. Then we have a little party. Then we come to King.
Right. But we're looking to have you in King Williamstown Thursday night. Dale Junior's event. Friday is the most special assembly, and it's been great to see. And I understand that the numbers of old aliens attending that is increasing. Everybody that I speak to talks positively about how wow, the ethos, the singing, the guijo of the kids, the spirit.
Yeah.
It is that the last 2 years we've had that assembly inside with rain outside. I am hoping that we can be back in the Hallett Courtyard, because there's something special about a reunion assembly there. But a special program that we've got planned. We were talking about how we can organize tours. If old aliens, maybe you're an old alien, you came down from Johannesburg, you lived in Hostel. Well, Dale College has got many kids now who are living in Zwelitsha or Ginsburg or in the rural areas. Would you like to tour? Would old aliens like to see where the current alien lives, and what does that look like? We're talking about having braai facilities up at the Bustafara Clubhouse, at our soccer fields now, obviously the Malcolm Andrews Sports Centre. We're talking about that event on Saturday evening in the ODU Assembly Hall. So lots going on.
Space.
Yeah.
Lots
So
of
I'm
hard
gonna
work.
throw I'm gonna throw you guys under the bus, Garth and Nick. I think that would need, hopefully, it doesn't have to be this long, but just a reunion plan before the year ends. I think it will always be good if going into the year, everyone knows, okay, this is the plan for May, and then the branches also know, and then we all work towards that together. So maybe just a reunion special, because this is such an important weekend in our calendar.
Good. We'll do that. Not before the end of the year, before the end of the term, before the end of the month. We're going to get it out.
Even better. Thanks.
Great.
Good.
And what I'm going to do is I've got this recording. I'm going to edit all the misjointed bits out, and all the bits where we're saying, "Are you getting this? Are you getting that?" I'll put it out there, and then ask everybody just to distribute it, because I think all the Dalians everywhere need to just become part of the family and see what we're trying to achieve here. Nick, Garth, any last questions?
Yeah, sorry, there's how many Dalians attend this webinar? We're about 36 now attending. And then how do we get involved in the King branch from Sibulela?
Sibulela will get in touch with you and connect you to a WhatsApp group. Exciting movements happen for the King branch to start up. And if you don't know where you're going to watch the Springboks on Saturday, it's down at the MA.
The MA. Touch rugby game starts at 4 o'clock. The fires will be started. Griffey's likely to fly, so he'll be buying all your meat for you. But yeah.
Look out for communication, get involved. Thanks for joining us, everyone.